Hello and welcome back to Colonial Airstream. I'm Patrick Botticelli and this is the all-new 2020 Airstream Globetrotter 23 front bedroom. Comes in a queen or twin. This model we're going to feature today is the twin bed. Has a gross vehicle weight rating of 6,300 pounds, a dry weight of 5,297, tongue weight, that's the hitch weight on the back of your vehicle, is 591 pounds, and the net carrying capacity is 1,003. The overall length is 23 foot 9 inches from the center of the ball to the back bumper. It is 8 foot wide on the exterior, giving you interior width of 7 foot 7 inches. The exterior height is 9 foot 9, and the interior headroom is 6 foot 7.5 inches. The base MSRP is $93,900. Let's head on inside, we'll check this out. Airstream did a great job for 2020 introducing this floor plan. A lot of people asked, why can't there be a smaller trailer than a 25 foot that has twin beds? So Airstream said, you know what, we're thinking about expanding the Globetrotter model line. Maybe we could take an existing floor plan and redevelop it and put a twin bed in. And they did, and it's great, and I love it. Dinette here is 34 inches by 76 inches long. This folds down to a bed for 2 adults or 2 kids. 2 small adults, and there's 4 color schemes available on the whole entire Globetrotter series. We're in the natural elm, which will be this color, Barcelona blue. Barcelona blue spradling hitch material is a blue-gray type material, and then when you get the natural elm Barcelona blue, the cabinetry throughout will be the natural elm, but you get an accent on your kitchen cabinets, which will be a dark gray. The other color scheme available is London Gray Natural Elm. So it'll be the natural elm with the accent cabinet with a light gray spradling hitch material. On the other side of the color spectrum, we have a darker interior called Dark Walnut, which will be a dark walnut cabinet. It will not have the accent, so it'll be dark walnut throughout. And then it has a Copenhagen Cream, which will be a light cream color spradling hitch, or it has Dublin Slate, which will be a dark slate color. All 4 colors are great. They all sell equal. It depends on whether you want a lighter color cabinetry or a darker color cabinetry. And all the upper cabinets are going to stay the lighter color. So you know, you pick the color, and then the pillows will change and the accents will change based on the color scheme. But I love them all. If you look down the aisle, the trailer is going to feel bigger than it may feel if it was a queen bed version. You know, it is available in a queen, but they do now make the twin. The benefit to the twin bed is you get more exterior storage. Now, when we go outside later, we're going to see that storage and how many more you get over the queen bed. But you get the aisle down the middle, so visually it feels bigger. That becomes an extension of your living space, so now you could sit and lounge on the beds. Instead of just having a bed with a bedroom with a bed in the middle of it, and you can get to the storage a little bit easier. Also, the mattresses, they're 34 inches wide by 80 inches long. The queen bed is 60 by 75, so each person is going to get more sleeping surface if you get the twin over the queen. So great job, Airstream, introducing this floor plan. 6.7 cubic foot automatic 3-way refrigerator you get on the Globetrotter series, Flying Cloud and International Serenity for 2020. You get the 5 cubic foot single door 2-way refrigerator. 3-burner cooktop. You get an optional convection microwave or a gas oven. A microwave upgrade is about $475. Solid surface countertop here, and you can see a little design inside. Really deep stainless steel sink with a Franke faucet, and they give you generous storage here with a trash pail and these wooden box drawers with full extension, silverware organizer, and also a slide out pantry with adjustable shelves. In the back there's a bathroom, which is nice because you come in from the entry door, you don't have to walk through the whole entire trailer, and you can come and use the bathroom without disturbing anybody. But a very spacious toilet area, lots of room, a wash sink, a window that opens, and a glass shower door with a very large enclosed shower. Heading towards the bedroom, These tuft and needle mattresses are extremely comfortable. So a lot of people, they really admire and love what Airstream does with mattresses. There's different mattresses on different series. This tuft and needle would be their upgraded mattress because the Globetrotter is at the higher level of the 23 footers. But you get a beautiful panoramic window that goes all the way around, a little nightstand in the middle, and then this television, you could angle or you could swing it all the way around and you could use it in your living space. And you get a wardrobe right at the foot of the bed, and you also get a shirt locker too. Now that I went over the overview of the floor plan, I'm going to go a little bit more detail on how everything works, starting with this fan. This is a fantastic fan. This has a motorized lid, variable speed control, thermostatically controlled fan blade, and a rain sensor that'll shut it down when it rains. It also has this screen here, the shade that helps block sunlight through and gives you a little bit of privacy. To open the lid, you just hit the open lid button. Then you select your fan speed. There's 3 different speeds. Once the lid lifts up, there's a little button that will pop, and if you have the fan blade engaged, which we do now, that will exhaust heat out of the trailer. And that will keep running all day long unless you set the thermostat to your room temperature, and if it gets hotter than it is right now, it'll kick back on. And if it rains, it will shut down, and then you just have to reset it when you come back to the trailer. I could go up to speed number 3, 2, 1. There's a fuse, a sacrificial fuse here. If one of the flambe got stuck, it would pop the fuse instead of burning out the motor. And then the screen here has a quick release. You could pop that down and clean the fan blade or the screen down. You can also have the lid open, but have the fan blade off if you don't want it to spin and draw battery, just as a natural vent. But it's highly recommended. This fan pulls so much air through this trailer that you have to have a window open, because it's going to be pulling air from gaskets and seams, and also it could pull air from your toilet if it needed that. So it's very important to open a window. So open any of the windows in the trailer, you just pull the handles, twist, and lift. And there's 3 different heights you could snap the window into, a low, medium, or high. If you're entertaining or walking around underneath the awning, just be mindful that the window is open. You don't want to have someone knock their head on it. And you want to open evenly, so you don't want to twist these handles. And you've got to be careful on a windy day, and it's very important before you tow to lock it in place. These hand-sewn curtains at Airstream have blackout liners built into them. They slide across on this aluminum rail, and they Velcro together to give you the privacy and also keep the heat outside. There's a directional reading light here. There's also one here off the head of the bed that you could angle. And there's LED lights inside of them. There's a smoke detector, carbon monoxide detector in the trailer. This is the carbon monoxide. And there's a 9-volt battery you got to change every 6 months, just like you would at home. This is solid oak on the corner of the cabinet. All the cabinets are pliable with laminate, so this is not a sticker that you could peel off. And it's not particle board that's going to come apart over time. It's very stable material. And the Airstream finishes the inside, so they laminate the inside too, so it's not just exposed plywood. Inside this shirt locker, there's a light, and then the wardrobe rod has notches built into it so your shirts don't slide back and forth. And it has European-style hinges, which have a quick release on the back. And it also, if you pop this cap off, you could change the angle and adjust the door over the years. And it's got a J-latch that keeps it shut when you're driving. And this one needs about 5 pounds of pressure to pull it open. The mattress we spoke about, tuft and needle. At room temperature, your optimal room temperature is between 65 and 75 degrees. That's what will be the most comfortable for the mattress. If it's really, really hot in the trailer, it's going to feel different. If it's really cold in the trailer, it's going to feel different. At the foot of the bed, they give you a cubby here, and it fits this perfectly. This is the owner's bag that comes with the trailer, and in the owner's bag has all the manuals for all the components on the trailer, Airstream's own owner's manual, and a newbie's guide to owning an Airstream. Very helpful guide. I recommend reading them all We're going to give you hands-on training at the dealership and orientation. We're going to teach you how everything works inside and out. You'll know a little bit more about the trailer if you do read the manuals first or afterwards, but you can always reference here. We give all our customers here at Colonial phone support, so you can call in. And if you bought the Airstream from us, we'll give you some phone support if you need help with a challenge. Airstream gives you CoachNet for 3 years when you buy the Airstream. That's a 24/7 tech support, roadside assistance. You'll get some paperwork after you purchase that will give you information on what to do if you need help with that. This front curtain here goes all the way around. It's a 2-piece curtain, and it covers your front panoramic window. The middle window opens, but you do have to open the rock guard first. Now, when we go outside later, I'm going to show you how to open the rock guard. And on either side of the bed, there's an electrical outlet and a USB charge port. So this side of the bed has an outlet with 2 outlets. This side does too. And both of these outlets are labeled inverter circuits. So you got 2 inverter circuits. You got one for the television, another one, a galley under the dinette. So there's a 1,000 watt pure sine wave inverter on this trailer. That's standard. The power awning that we're going to see later outside, that's standard. Window awnings are standard. The wireless backup camera is standard. So there's not that many options besides solar and convection microwave you get on this model. But with the inverter, there's a switch we'll see later that you turn on that will invert your stored battery juice into electricity, so you can power these outlets up to 1,000 watts when you're not plugged into electricity. Right now we're plugged into electricity. I have the 13,500 B2 ducted air conditioning with heat pump running. So these outlets would still be powered right now even though we're plugged in. But if we weren't plugged in and I wanted to run a laptop computer over here, I'd plug it into an inverter circuit, turn the inverter on, and I could power that component. USB charge ports are hooked right into the battery system of the trailer, so you don't have to turn the inverter on or be plugged into electricity for those to work. This drawer slides all the way out. There's a full extension drawer here for the nightstand. And then the front overhead roof locker, check out this really, really nice hardware that they put on the cabinet to keep it open. There's a little sensor here that turns a light on and off when you open the compartment. There's a mirror in the back of the compartment, so if you can't see what you're grabbing, you can see the reflection of what you're grabbing. And there's an access panel to get to the speaker box that's on either side of this overhead roof locker for service. I have the bed pillows that are included stored up here now. And this laminate is fingerprint resistant, so it's a little bit easier to clean than some other laminates that are on the market. And then they build this padded headboard into the trailer that goes all the way around. It gives you a little bit buffer from the front wall of the trailer when you're sleeping. The window on that side was 18 inches. The window on this side is a big 30-inch window, but this one doubles as emergency exit, so it's large enough for an adult to climb out. You pull the 2 red handles, twist, lift, and it opens just like the side window, except if you need to get out, you pull this release here, it unravels the screen, you could climb out of the trailer in an emergency situation. But it operates just like the regular window with 3 different heights and the same style locks as well. The TV, if you want to swing it around, you undo this spring-loaded nylon strap and it swings all the way around, so you could use it in the galley here. Just be careful when you're towing. You want to make sure this is locked in place. You don't want this swinging around when you're driving. There's light controls here for the ceiling light in the bedroom, and you could dim them down if you wanted to get a dimmer look. And then there's an accent light over that storage compartment, the overhead roof locker, that you could turn on and off from here, and you can turn those directional reading lights on and off too. So all your light controls for the bedroom are located here on the wall. The TV's plugged into the inverter circuit here. This is again powered when you're plugged into electricity, or you turn the inverter on, you can power the TV. HDMI port is hooked up here. That it hooks up to the Blu-ray player, that's standard. And the coax cable that comes in from the outside or the rooftop antenna plugs into the television. The antenna that's on the roof has an antenna booster built into it, so it's an omnidirectional antenna that you don't have to spin or direction it. But when you want to use the over-air antenna to get TV reception, high-def digital, you press this little button. It takes 12-volt juice and boosts the signal up so you can watch TV at a stronger signal. If you leave that on, it will drain your battery down over time. And if you leave that on and you're plugged into the cable at a campground, it's going to distort your signal. So you only recommend turning that on right before you're about to watch TV. When you're done watching TV, shut it down. And they also on this model give you a 12-volt power socket, which is really nice. Some people still have devices that they want to utilize using a 12-volt socket. If you lift up the bed, you'll see here there's routed vent holes. This allows your mattress to air out during the day, so you don't get any moisture buildup underneath it. It's very important. If your trailer doesn't have that, then you want to elevate the mattress if you're doing some cold weather camping to allow it to air out when you're done. This flips down and there's a bin here. These are the plastic bins that come with the trailer. And this side's an open side, so whatever, you can put a duffel bag in this side. On the opposite side of the trailer, this mattress has an access panel to get to the water heater bypass. So there's a winterization procedure that will teach you, but you have to bypass the water heater. The bypass is in this access hatch. And then it has the same air vents drilled in, but you got 3 different storage compartments on this side. And this one's double tiered, so you can put some shoes in the top and bottom bins. And then the box part right here is a front trunk compartment, this bottom portion that we'll see later when we go outside. All right. Moving forward, in this wardrobe, this is the cushion that we're going to use later to set up the dinette bed. But there's a light in this compartment, same wardrobe rod. You get space above. And then below, there's a service access hatch that you could take this plate off here, or you could hide tools in here. But this also lifts up, and it gains you access to get in if you needed to get to your water pump for winterization. They also give you a siphon hose that you'd stick in a jug of antifreeze. You open up the siphon valve here, and the pump could suck the non-toxic antifreeze through your system of the trailer. This is the new feature for Airstream. They do this right at the factory. A lot of times when you see these were dealer installed, but now Airstream's doing it on the factory level. All your tanks in this trailer are heated, and the way they're heated is when you have your furnace on, it ducts it's an 18,000 BTU furnace, it ducts the hot air not only through the ductwork in the trailer, but the tanks are dropped into an insulated chamber. And there's a hole drilled into the floor, the tank chamber bolts right up to it, and the furnace duct circulates hot air around the tank, giving you about a 7-degree boost in temperature inside the tank. So it's not meant for 10-degree weather and having water on board, but if you get an unexpected drop in temperature overnight below freezing, as long as that furnace is on, that's going to protect your tank, giving you about a 7-degree boost in that tank temperature to prevent you from freezing. You also have to make sure the furnace is on and some cabinet doors are open to allow airflow behind. But you could do some cold weather camping. There's a privacy curtain that pulls across, and there's a little Velcro that keeps it bunched up. Some of the other models in similar floor plans, you're going to see an accordion door, but this is a sewn curtain that they give you on this model. And there's a strap here that once you get it back in, snap it in place. Down here on the floor, there's a propane leak detector. If you have a gas leak in this trailer, that detector alarm will go off. It's hardwired to the battery system of the trailer, so if you turn the batteries off, that will still be on. If you spray anything aerosol by it, that will set it off, and sometimes pets sleeping by it will set it off too. Next to that is your battery converter charger. So this converts AC to DC and charges your battery. So it has all your AC fuses. That would be for your main breaker for the 30 amp plugging in, microwave, electrical outlets, refrigerator, your GFCI protected outlets for the outside and bathroom and kitchen. It's all located right here. There's 2 GFCI reset breakers in here. So if one of those outlets got wet, under heavy rain outside, might pop the breaker, you're going to reset it in here. You push all the way back and reset. Everything's labeled right here too if you have questions on that. It converts electricity into battery juice DC, direct current, for your 12-volt items, your radio, your lights, your fans, all that runs on 12 volt. They have 12 volt ATC style fuses And if one of these fuses was to blow, there's a red LED light that'll illuminate next to it to indicate that that particular fuse circuit blew. I'd never recommend replacing the fuse with a larger size fuse. You want to go with spec if you had to have a fuse blow. And then everything's labeled on this side. The bottom portion is the battery charger. So when you're plugged into electricity and you have your batteries turned on, the battery charger will kick in to charge the batteries to top them off. This is a multi-stage charger, so you don't have to worry about it overcharging your batteries. But you got to keep these vents open. You don't want to put anything close to this because the battery charger creates some heat and there's a cooling fan in there that allows it to cool off, so you want to keep that ventilated. While we're down here, we can open up the storage hatch, one here and one here underneath the dinette. There's an inverter circuit underneath the dinette as well. And then if you lift up the dinette cushions, if you can't fit it in the door, there's an access hatch here. And inside the access hatch, you can see the subwoofer that comes as part of the sound system. So there's 4 speakers and a subwoofer as part of the sound system. Now I can fold down the dinette. I'll show you how that works. Let me just ditch these accent pillows for a second. What we're going to do is there's a latch here you unlock, and that allows the table to slide out. So if you want to get in the dinette, you could slide this out and spin it and get in the corner here and hang out. You got a view around the front. You got pretty much a panoramic view. You can spin the table to different angles. You want to get out, you slide it forward, slide it back, and push it in. To bring it into a bed, you're going to leave that unlocked, and then you're going to unlock these 2 clamps. And there's a telescopic table. We're going to slide the table out, and we're going to push down, and then we're going to spin this side in, and spin that side, and push the table down. And we're going to push it all the way in so it's flush here, put the clamps on, and then I'm going to grab this cushion, 34 by 76. It will work. If you tuck in, you could get another person right here. It's optimal for 2 kids, but 2 adults could sleep in it in a pinch. To bring it back up, we'll put the cushion away. Now, if you're not going to have anybody sleeping here on a trip, you can leave this at home, but you want to bring it if you're going to have additional guests. Slide the table out, spin it, get one side out of the way, bring the table up a little bit. Let me undo the clamp, sorry. There we go. And then spin it this way. And then these are, you could tighten if you want the table to be not wobbly at all. And then you can lock it in place. And that's it. And then you could comfortably fit 4 people at this dinette. Here's one more speaker. You got another one there. So that's your 4 total speakers as part of the sound system. There's a smoke detector, again, 9-volt battery, you want to change that every 6 months. And then the 13,500 BTU air conditioning with heat pump, these are the intakes for it. So there's filters in here that you can check periodically, make sure they're not clogged with lint. You take a Phillips head screwdriver, undo all 4 screws on both sides, clean them, let them dry, and put them back in place. Your ductwork in the trailer, there's a couple in the bedroom, there's 4 here. You could spin them so you could bring air to a certain direction, or you could shut some off and dedicate more air to a certain area in the trailer. So you could, these are registers you could spin around. Over here on the wall, there's a comfort control center. So right now we're on cool, and then I just turned the temperature all the way down. But you could dial in your temperature here. The fan we have on high, but I could change the fan speed to low, and whatever you do here, there's a delay. So I kick down to low. I could change it to the fan speed to medium. There's a delay, and that will kick up to medium. And then I could put it back to high. We're about 100 degrees today, so it's going to run on high right there. And there's a delay, and that will kick up. Or you could just leave it on auto. Auto would automatically do low, medium, or high, depending on how it needs to get to your desired temperature. Once it reaches your desired temperature, the fan will shut off, and the air conditioner will shut off, and then will kick back on when it needs to. And your temperature controls here, you can see your inside temp by holding this button in. You can change from Fahrenheit to Celsius. You can set a clock and a program. Zone, there's only one zone in this trailer, so if you hit it, it won't do anything. But mode allows you to change from air conditioning to auto. So I could put on auto 70 degrees. If it gets really cold tonight, it will turn on your heat pump. If it gets really hot during the day, it will turn your air conditioning. I could change mode to just heat pump if I wanted just the heat pump to run. We don't need that today. And that uses the air conditioning almost in a reverse cycle. Instead of throwing the heat outside, it throws it inside. And it'll work 45 degrees outside or above. I can also change the mode to just furnace, which is your forced head air propane furnace system that is down here by the floor. And then I could go to mode fan only, or I could change it to mode off and everything will shut off. Well, I'm going to put the air conditioning back on and let it stay on. And then to turn the whole system off, if you don't want anything on, you just hit the power button here in the left corner. The inverter we spoke about earlier, this is the control to turn it on and off. So I'm going to demonstrate how the power gets allocated. If I was to unplug the trailer and I use this electrical outlet tester that came with this trailer and I had it plugged into the outlet, nothing would be lit up. These two yellow lights wouldn't be lit up. When I pressed the inverter system on, you'd wait about 10 seconds and then this will be powered. And that will allow you to know that you have power going to those outlets. You don't have to use the tester. It comes with the trailer, but I usually use it to demonstrate during the walkthrough on how the power goes to those outlets. Also over here is the controller display for the solar charging system. This has the optional solar charging system with a 90-watt solar panel and upgraded batteries to absorb glass mat. This, you can see how much battery percentage remaining. You could change it and see your battery voltage, solar charge amps, solar amp hours, and your charging status. Right now we're not charging, we're plugged into electricity in the building. The battery's already fully charged. And this is a cubby here you can store remote control on if you wanted. There's a ledge here you can store some knickknacks on if you wanted to. These two windows open, but I will give you precaution when we go outside on this window here. There's something to be mindful of. You have lights over the dinette area and overhead roof locker. Same mirrors that we saw in the bedroom. And then there's a lot of people ask what these are. That TV, when it came from the manufacturer, came with a stand, so you could put a TV on the counter at home. Airstream removes that so they could mount it to the wall mount. But Airstream still leaves the stand behind. In here, we have the USB charge port. This has the Fusion sound system. It's a great sound system on board. Sony Blu-ray DVD player, and there's a USB input here on the front. And then you have a remote control for the Fusion that you could, for the Blu-ray player, and you have a remote control for the television. So these are the two remote controls that come with the trailer. And then the Fusion sound system, there's a little cover that you could put on it if you don't want the lights that flash on and off. If you have playing stereo. On this model, it's behind a cabinet, but on some models, this will be flush mounted on the front of the cabinet. If you want music playing at night and you don't want all the lights flashing, this would just cover it up and cover the lights. And then the Blu-ray player plugs into this inverter circuit here. The wireless backup camera I have stored neatly in this cabinet, but when you're ready to tow the trailer, you're going to stick this to the windshield of the vehicle. It's a suction cup. Make sure it's not blocking your view. Plug into a 12-volt charge port, put your parking lights on in your vehicle, and that'll power the camera, give you rear view vision. When we go outside later, you're going to see the camera itself where it's mounted. And if you don't want to store it up in the cabinet, it does come with a nice box for storage. All right, moving along here. On this side of the trailer, we have the 6.7 cubic foot automatic 3-way refrigerator. Runs on gas, electric, and battery. It's an absorption style refrigerator, so it's recommended to turn it on one day before you start traveling. Remove all the heat from it, get it down to your safe temperature, put your items in. The more items you put, the more efficient it will run. You can even put ice packs in to give it a little bit of boost. And then when you're driving, you could switch it over to battery juice, so you could leave it on the whole entire time you're driving. It does run more efficient on electricity or propane. So when you get to the campground, just make sure it automatically switches back to electricity, or you manually can put it onto propane. All the controls here are on the middle portion. And power switches here. There's an LED light on the inside to indicate. And we could put it, we're plugged into electricity. I have it on electric. If I just put it on auto mode, it's automatically going to decide that. But if I wanted to manually put it on propane, I could do so. But it knows we don't have propane. The propane tanks are empty. Or I can manually put it on battery if I wanted to. And then you could change the temperature setting here. And if it, whatever reason on propane, it misfired, this little thing will light up to let you know that it could not run on propane or the refrigerator shut off. So I'm just going to put it on auto. It's going to automatically know we're plugged into electricity and let it do its full day cooling. The ice cube tray comes with it on top, and then all these shelves here are adjustable. You can put one in the middle, you can move it around. And then the door here, what you have is airing. So when you're going to put the trailer away in storage, after you have used the refrigerator for several days, they're going to allow moisture inside. So it's always recommended to leave the doors open. But you could also do it, there's a lever here that you could push in and slide out. And it brings the latch assembly out a little bit further, so the door will still latch, but leave an air gap to allow it to air out. Because if you don't let it air out, it's going to mold up. So that's just this latch here. This slides in and out, and you got to push in on it quite a bit, and that will allow it to latch with the airflow. There's one on top, and there's one here on the bottom. You just got to push in, and that will slide out, and that door again will latch in an open position. And just make sure you reset it back in, because if you leave it like that, your refrigerator is never going to cool if you wanted to use it. Above the refrigerator is a storage compartment. This is just part of the vent system behind it, so it's not that deep. 3-burner cooktop. You just select which burner you would want on, hit ignite, and it'll ignite that particular burner. And each one has a light indicator. You put it to light, push in. And then you don't cook on top of the lid, you cook with the lid open. It's always best practice to open the cooktop ventilation system on the outside and then turn on the cooktop vent when you're cooking. You also want to check your filter under the cooktop, make sure that's not all clogged up too over a period of time. Comes standard with a gas oven that has electric 12-volt spark ignite, but this has the optional convection microwave. So it's a regular microwave, just like you might have at home or might be familiar with, but it also has an electric element on the top and a fan in the back. So when you turn on convection mode, you set your desired temperature, just like an electric oven in a house, and the convection fan will come on and circulate air around your food, actually help you brown and bake. So a lot of people like having both a microwave and an oven. This gives you the combination of both in one compartment here. This opens up, and right behind it is the wheel well. So that's what occupied the other half of the dinette that we didn't have storage access to, is the wheel well. So that cuts in just like the bed of a pickup truck. Up here, there's just a couple cubbies here on the side of the kitchen. You can put spices in there. This is the furnace intake. This is where the air goes into the furnace, so you don't want to block that. And these are 2 furnace ducts. There's one in the bathroom, galley, and down in your tanks. Drawers we saw a little bit earlier, silverware organizer. This lifts up and you can store items in here, whatever you wish to add. And this is a service access for some of the plumbing too, so it actually gives you an easy way to get in if you ever needed to upgrade or repair anything. GFCI protected electrical outlet here, and then these lights here, your task lights over the kitchen galley, are controlled from this switch. You have an ocean air roller shade that hooks down, Franke faucet with a pull-out, and then these 2 sink covers, recess here, so it's a flush mount, a deep Moen stainless steel sink, very high quality sink here. And then you got 2 overhead roof lockers. Same mirrors in the back, and this is there's a ledge here that you can store these sink covers. There's a little spot you can store them in. That'll keep them, and there's little rubber grommets here to keep them in place. This compartment here goes all the way back, so you can store a lot of items in there. And then the slide-out pantry, you can adjust the shelves so you can have all different heights depending on what you want to load inside. I don't recommend purchasing any extra because it's really hard to space them that you could lift items out. Below that is an access panel to get to some low point drains for winterization. So when we go over the winterization procedure with you, Low point drains on this trailer, it's behind this access panel. Airstream's very mindful when it comes to items like that because you don't have to disassemble a whole wardrobe just to get to low point drains. They give you an access panel and it's easy to get to. Porthole window for the bathroom. Another fantastic fan, but this one doesn't have the shade, but you could add it aftermarket. Towel bar in the rear of the door. And look at this hardware they have here. Really, really nice hardware that Airstream includes. And this is a really thick, heavy door. Porcelain style toilet. Foot pedal here. You put your foot partially on the pedal, will fill the bowl to your desired height. So you pick how much water you want in there to start with. And then to flush it, you just push all the way down. The ball valve opens, goes right down in the black tank, which is this box right here, and extends partially into the galley area. We're going to see later outside on how you discharge that system. Exposed aluminum wall here. This is really cool how you can see the interior curvature, and then there's a space between this skin and the outside skin with the EcoBat insulation. And on this wall here, we have controls to get to the water heater. So the water heater is gas or electric, gas element, electric element. When you flip on the gas, the water heater gas valve will open, it will ignite. If it didn't ignite, this red light will come on and stay on. That is a warning light only. It doesn't mean the water heater's on, it means it's not on. If you turn it on the gas element water heater, you got about 15 minutes before you get to really, really hot water. And it's a 6-gallon reservoir, but it gives you 9 gallons continuous flow of hot water. So it's a very fast recovery. The other side of it is the electric element. So you could choose either or both, but it has electric element. It takes a little bit longer to heat the water on electric and a little bit longer to recover. So if you're looking for fast recovery, use the gas. You have your ceiling light switch in here, which are all LED. There's 3 recessed lights in the ceiling. And then you have your sea level 2 tank monitoring system. You can monitor your battery level, which we saw on the solar controller, but that's optional. This is what you get standard. 13.4 volts, and then I can see how much fresh water in levels of percentage. Most RVs give you quarters or third reading, which is tough because if you're 2/3, well, how much more to get to full? Is it a gallon, a cup, or several gallons? With this system in percentage, it goes from 0 to 100%, so it gives you more precise reading on what's in your tank. And freshwater tank's 39 gallons, gray tank is your 30-gallon tank, and the black is 18. But you can monitor the gray and black from here as well. And you can turn on your water pump because there's a 39-gallon freshwater tank on board. The water pump is what pumps it from the tank to your faucet. So when you turn on the pump will kick on initially, and then it will pressurize the system. Once the water system gets up to pressure, the pump will shut off. And once you turn on a faucet, the water will flow through and the pump will sense a drop in pressure and kick back on, and then when you turn the faucet off, it will shut itself off because it's repressurized the system. It's never recommended to tow the trailer with your water pump on because the faucet could accidentally kick on when you're driving, overflow to the sink, and flood out your trailer. And it's also not necessary to run the pump when you're hooked up to the city water connection into the campground because it bypasses your tank and just supplies water to all your plumbing. And then it would just be their water pressure every time you turn on the faucet. And it's never recommended to turn on the water pump if there's no water in the system at all because the pump will run all day long, burn itself out, and that's not a good thing. It's an expensive repair. Over here, there's some storage here next to the toilet. There's a cubby here down on the floor, a GFCI protected electrical outlet, another window that opens all the way out. For privacy, you get the Ocean Air roller shade. Another stainless steel deep bowl sink. This is a Growy faucet. Toilet paper holder. Colonial Airstream gives you toilet paper to start with. A lot of our customers, after hands-on training, which takes several hours to go through everything with a technician, will spend the evening at our dealership before they travel back home. That way they could try everything out. They'll have to bring some of their own materials, but we do give them some stuff to get started. These are drop-in tank deodorizers. So for the 18-gallon tank, 1 dose. Drop it in, use the toilet, use the tank. When you empty the tank, retreat it with another dose. That'll help break down the waste and deodorize. That's just from Colonial. This is from Airstream. It comes with the toilet. This is a gel style. Just be careful, this is corrosive, so you want to screw the cap on tight before you put it away in storage. You got some storage down below here. A little towel bar. and a mirror that has a magnification built into it, but you can adjust all different angles. And then let me just jump in the shower. This is ABS plastic with an overlap here for the bottom portion, and then a fiberglass tub bottom. It's a very spacious shower. I'm 5'9" and I got my shoes on, but there's plenty of headroom, plenty of elbow room in here too. The shower wand hangs on the wall. This is a Delta faucet. When you turn this on, it's just like a diverter at home, hot, cold. But once you get your desired temperature, if you want to conserve water, you just pause it, and you can hang it back up and lather up. And when you're ready, you just turn it back on, and you could rinse yourself off. There's a clothesline up top here that you can pull across, and it hooks in for light items, very light items you can hang from here and lock it in place. And then there's a ledge here on the sides. If you wanted to sit down, you could do that as well in here. There's a ledge here for shampoo and conditioner. And then there's a drain here in the corner. So if you're not level, if you're really crooked, the water will probably puddle up on this side, but it's all tapered towards the drain, so it should help. But you're going to take the drain plug off, and when you're done showering, to keep the water in the P-trap, when you're driving, you just put the little cap back on, and it'll keep the water on board. And then you just want to, just like at home in your home shower, just check and maintain the seams and caulk over years. There's a magnetic strip that keeps the shower door shut. And there's a handheld lock, a travel lock, so it doesn't pop open when you're driving. Let's head back out into the galley. I want to show you some stuff by the entry door before we head outside. Right here at the entry door, Airstream gives you a really nice welcome mat. You have coat hooks here, dry erase board, markers up top, magnets, and then you can tape pictures to these magnets here. There's an access panel to get to the shower faucet if you ever need a repair. And then you have the controls to operate the power awning. You can open, close. We're going to see that later when we go outside, but there is an on-off. So when you want to activate or use the awning, you're going to turn it on. When you're all done, you're going to put it in storage or tow the trailer, you're going to shut it off. You have your ceiling light switches, which are on a dimmer, and then you have accent lights in the trailer. There's also a porch light over the door you might be able to see when we go outside later. And then we'll definitely see the awning, when it's out, there's a LED light strip in it, but you can dim that down as well. And then there's a fire extinguisher here by the door that you want to check to make sure it's fully charged. And then there's a battery disconnect. So the first thing you ever want to do before you use the trailer is turn it on, right? Turn the battery switch on to use. That's before you plug into electricity, before you try to operate any items on board, or before you plug into your tow vehicle. Make sure that's on use. When you're all done, you're going to put it away in storage, and you want to make sure that maybe everything's shut off, there's nothing left on. You're just going to hit it down to store, and that shuts the battery system off. So there's use and store. And there's a solenoid that you click underneath the head of one of the beds that activates on and off for the batteries. This is a remote for it. Let's head outside. Before I do that, there's little hooks here a lot of people miss on their way in. These are key hooks that you could use to hang some keys. Well, let's head outside. I'm going to show you a little bit more in detail on where everything is outside and how it all operates. The exterior is just as beautiful as the interior. Starting with the entry door. This entry door is handmade at Airstream. It takes about 8 hours for one person at the factory to manufacture this door. It's got heavy-duty hardware, entry door lock, that solid shut that everybody loves. Got a heavy-duty deadbolt lock. These are 2 separate keys. The screen door detaches from the main door, snaps in nice and tight to the gasket here. This slides across to fill the gap, the void that was over here. You have a frosted window on the entry door. The screen is TIG welded. It's all aluminum frame. You got screen door guards built into it. Got stainless steel hinge with 6 rivets. You look at the bottom of the threshold here, there's grip tape, so if you're on your way out, you don't slip. And then you got the beautiful Airstream entry step. There's a bifold step, so we could fold the bottom step up and around if you just want one step, and you can push it all the way in and up, and it's flush mount right to the body, so there's nothing sticking out or down to hit anything. To get it out, you kick it and lift up at the same time, and we can fold from the back and around. There's grip tape on each one of these steps, and these are all aluminum. And the 5/8 inch tongue and groove plywood floor with outdoor exposure rating has an anti-wicking substance painted to the whole perimeter. So if you left the entry door open and you got a little bit of water on the floor and it rolled underneath, it's not going to wick it all the way through. And then on top of this plywood floor, they have a woven vinyl mat here. Very durable. It's almost commercial grade, and it's very resilient to the rocks and stones that get stuck in your shoes. If you drop a kitchen knife while you're cooking, it's going to be more resilient for piercing. And then at the entry door, there is a piece of aluminum here that allows you to sweep the trailer out very easily. And when you close the entry door, you got to unlock it from a latch here on the body that prevents it from flying around on a windy day. Coming around, there's stabilizer jacks all four corners of the trailer. Now when we get to the location where you could hit the power buttons for it, I'll demonstrate how they go up and down. LED clearance lights, running lights. I recommend putting your parking lights on in your tow vehicle. That will power those lights. But it's also going to power the wireless backup camera. Now we saw the monitor that goes in your tow vehicle on the inside, but that's the actual camera that is going to give you the rear view vision while you're driving. You can leave that on to see what traffic conditions are behind you or when you're backing into the campsite. Beautiful cast aluminum taillight housings, LED lights here. This is the belt line protection that covers the two seams of the trailer. All the rivets here are buck riveted in place for the whole entire shell. And everything that we saw earlier on the inside of the trailer was hand carried through this door. So you build the shell first, they drop it on the frame, and then they hand carry all the aluminum sheathing on the inside. There's equal bad insulation between the exterior shell and the interior shell, and then all the furniture is put inside. So none of the furniture has anything to do with structural integrity or keeping the trailer square. The shell is just as strong empty as it is when you put the furniture inside. It's very important. Steel frame here, and then there's a polished aluminum rear bumper. Beautiful design here. Protection caps on the end so you don't scuff yourself with this sharp aluminum. And then the rear bumper has a storage lid that lifts up, and there's a mat inside, and this is for items that you don't want to put in one of your 3 trunks. And that's right, there's 3 trunks when you get the twin bed model. And the queen bed, there's 1. So you do get a little bit more exterior storage on the twin versus the queen. But you could put blocks of wood, wheel chocks, anything that has ground contact that will get dirty that you don't want to put inside one of your trunks, you can put back here. This is not a weatherproof compartment, so things will get wet, so be mindful of that. License plate bracket with light. This is the beautiful Globetrotter milled medallion. This is your rub rail protection here at the bottom of the trailer. It goes all the way around. Window awnings are standard. It's all Sunbrella material. Look at the design of this Sunbrella material. You get the entire Globetrotter series. This you pull down and release these 2 arms. And that will allow the awning to roll up. And this is when you're in travel, this will stay put. It's metal wrapped to protect it. And to get it out, there's an awning tool that comes with the trailer, or you can pull by hand. And then you just spin these around. And it really drastically reduces interior temperature in the trailer because now the sun's hitting this instead of the glass. And then this rolls up and you can Velcro it in place. Nice and neat right there. This rear window is the bathroom window, and this opens all the way out. There's 3 different heights. It's all safety glass, tempered glass, and tinted. This is another stabilizer jack point if you wanted to manually override your jacks, but this has the power jacks. The whole entire underbelly of the trailer is wrapped up in aluminum. There's flex foil insulation between the floor and the underbelly. There's specific jack locations, so if you get a flat tire, you're going to use the bottle jack from your tow vehicle, and you're going to buy the correct tools to get the lug nuts off. And there's a jack location with a sticker and a plate riveted to the frame of the trailer to indicate that's a safe jacking location. There's one on this side, which is the back of the trailer, and one on that side, which is the curbside rear of the trailer. The waste system, this has a 30-gallon gray tank and an 18-gallon black tank. gray tank is your sink and shower waste, black is your toilet. I'm gonna grab the waste hose out of this tube here. And we're gonna snap it on. This would be your waste at a campground. You take that off, take this cap off, snap the waste hose on, nice and secure. Once you have this off, there's threaded 3 different sizes that you can screw in. These are just vinyl gloves. You can screw it in, or if the threads are stripped, you could slip this donut in, slip your hose into it, make sure it's nice and tight, and then snap it all together. And then it's always best practice to empty your black tank first. Black tank is your toilet waste, and there's solids and debris inside. So you're gonna pull this blade valve straight out. The waste is gonna discharge, come out the tube, and flow down to the dump station. When that's done emptying, you're gonna close it, and you're gonna save your gray waste, which is soapy sink water, pull that out, and that will now clean out your waste hose. And then when you're done, you close it, and then you continue using the trailer. And then when you look in the gauge that we saw in the bathroom earlier, inside you'll know when it's time to empty, whether it's half tank, 3/4 tank, or full, and you're gonna follow the same procedure. When you're all done, and you're ready to pack up and you're gonna go home and put it in storage, after you empty the black tank, you could hook up a regular garden hose right here. This says black tank flush. Don't use this hose, I'll get to that in a moment. Regular garden hose here, turn the water on. With this handle open inside the tank under pressure is a wand that will flush out the tank, get all that residual waste out and down the drain to help clean your tank so you don't have any tank odor. When that's done, you're gonna shut the water off, disconnect the hose, and by that time, any residual has drained out of the tank. You're gonna close this, and then you take your waste hose off, carrying it high to make sure whatever water or waste is in your waste hose drains out of your tube. And then you take and unsnap this end, you carry your waste hose over. Now you're gonna have rubber gloves when you do this. And store that away. And then you can get a large zipping bag and slide this in and put that in your back bumper. When you're all done, you put the cap on. If you're doing this at night, there's a light out here that illuminates this area so you can see better. And then if you're gonna be permanently at a campground and you can park closer to the waste, you could cut the waste hose shorter and put an angle down on and go straight down if you wanted to. This right here is the furnace discharge. The furnace is inside the trailer. We saw the controls while we're in there. This is where the excess heat and exhaust comes out. There's an outside utility shower. It has hot and cold water outside. You take the wand, you hang it up. You can use the faucet, hot and cold. And you could also use it to hose off any of your equipment before you put it away. Just don't forget, when you follow your winterization procedure, that this particular hose is going to have water in it, and make sure you discharge the water out of that hose. Up here is your city water inlet. So you have a 39-gallon fresh water tank on board. That tank uses a 12-volt water pump, which you saw the switch inside. And when you turn on the switch, it'll pressurize the system. Then once you turn on a faucet, it sees a drop in pressure, and it pumps the water from that tank through all your systems. But if you want to use your city water connection, it will bypass that tank that's on board and supply water to all your plumbing. So you just get the RV safe drinking water hose, and you hook that into the campground's connection. You can put an inline water filter between this and your trailer if you would like. And you want to store this in a clean, dry place. And then you just unscrew the cap, you screw the hose right in, and then you turn your water on at the campsite. And this has a water pressure regulator built right into it. That's going to protect you from high, unexpected spikes in water pressure at the campground, maybe when no one's using their water at night. So you're already protected right here. This has the Goodyear Endurance 225/75 R15 load range E tires, inflated max up to 80 PSI, and they're rated 80 miles an hour. It's very important to check your tire pressure before you ever tow the trailer. That's the first thing you want to do right after you hook up the trailer, is check your tire pressure. Then it's always best practice to check your lug nut torque. The lug nut torque specification is in the owner's manual, so you want to make sure you're mindful of what that is. If you ever remove the tire for inspection of brakes or inspection of bearings, you want to retorque the lug nut every 10, 25, or 50 miles. Very important. You want to do all 4 wheels. And also, when you're checking your tire pressure, don't forget to check your spare tire, which is the same size but on a steel wheel. Check that tire pressure as well. This is a rubber torsion axle system by Dexter. There's very minimal moving parts, so there's really no maintenance to do to the axle, but you do have to inspect it periodically. And this has the Never Lube hub assembly, so there's no bearing maintenance, but you do have to do bearing inspection. And it also has the Never Adjust braking system. These are 12-inch electric drum brakes. You do have to inspect your brake linings and hardware, although you don't have to do the adjustments that other people would do in the industry. And there's a shock absorber on each wheel of the trailer, so there's 4 shock absorbers total. Moving forward, this water dripping out right here, we have the air conditioning going. As you see, I'm sweating today. It's about 100 degrees outside. I have the air conditioning going, so any condensation that builds up on the air conditioning system, it drips out of a tube down the side of the trailer. Now this is very helpful because in most RVs, the condensation runs down the roof of the trailer, so you get stains down the side of the motorhome. This runs through a tube. So if you see water dripping there, don't immediately think that you have a water leak. It's probably because your air conditioning's running and it's very humid out and you have condensation dripping. This right here is your refrigerator ventilation. So this has a bug guard on it. It's an aluminum door with louvers and vents. And on the roof of the trailer, there's another vent up top. Because this refrigerator is a 3-way refrigerator, runs on gas, electric, or battery, there's heat that builds up behind it that has to allow the heat and the fumes to ventilate properly. So you don't want to store things in here, but you want to do a periodic inspection, make sure nothing out of the ordinary is going on in this compartment. You want to wipe it down periodically as well. Moving forward, we are hooked into a 30 amp power connection here on our building. This is my cord for the building. This is the cord that comes with the trailer. And this cord has a LED light that will illuminate to let you know you have power coming in when you plug into a 30 amp campground connection, 3 prongs. This 30 amps will give you power to power the air conditioning and other items on the trailer. This is your preferred power connection. But if you're in a situation where you don't have 30 amp available, Colonial gives you a premium adapter that goes from 30 amp to a regular household electrical outlet, which is a 20 amp or 15 amp outlet. With this adapter, you cannot run the air conditioning, but you can run everything else inside the trailer. Not everything else at once, but you could run other items in the trailer. So if you want to run the air conditioning and a lot of other items, I recommend making sure you get a 30 amp campground, or if you're doing this at home, make sure you have a 30 amp 125 volt power outlet installed at your residence. And this door, once you undo the lock and twist and pull this out, this door closes weather tight. Below it, there is a connection for cable or satellite. So this trailer has a over-the-air omnidirectional TV antenna, which we saw the booster on the inside, but you could also hook into coax cable at a campground to get their cable service. They might give you a box that you have to install inside the trailer. Or you could do external satellite. So you could do portable satellite dish outside, bring your receiver from home, hook that inside the trailer, and now you'll have satellite TV. But it's all wired here. You just have to bring the hardware and the cable, and you're all set. This compartment here is that 39-gallon freshwater tank. This cap comes off, and you can stick the hose in loose, this same hose here, turn on the water low, and allow it to flow at a low rate to fill the tank up. And the air will relief out of here, and also if you overfill the tank, the water will relief out of here. To drain the water out of that tank after you put it in, there's a drain valve below the trailer that you twist, and that will drain down that tank. There's a little dribble there. And then there's 2 petcocks here, one for hot water line, one for cold water line. That's to drain down those 2 water lines in the trailer. There's also other low point drains as well. So during your hands-on orientation at Colonial, we'll point out those drains for you, but you want to follow your step-by-step procedure in your owner's manual on how to winterize your trailer. This right here is the outside storage trunk you get on the twin bed model. It goes back pretty decent and all the way up to the front here, right about right here. So it's a pretty large compartment. You could fish your hitch bars in there. It's lockable, insulated, weather sealed, double weather sealed. And you can see the extruded aluminum frame here that's buck riveted in place has a nice flare to it to allow water to go around it. There's another stabilizer jack point here. This is your VIN plate, which actually has the VIN number of the trailer, the month it was made, the tire size, tire pressure, rim size, and tire safety information right here on this sticker. So if you ever have any questions on those items, you just check here on the sticker. This window awning really shades this side of the trailer, shades the metal and the glass of the window, so it goes down the whole side. But they call it a window awning package, but it actually is cap to cap. This one, you could use your awning tool to reach it and pull it down, or you could do it by hand. It's spring loaded, it's metal wrapped, and there's a latch. There's the awning tool that you can twist and line up and lock it in place when you're traveling. I do recommend a hot sunny day, roll this out, and it'll help make your Airstream run more efficient when you're running the air conditioning. Up front here, we have some amber color roof clearance lights. They'll come on when you turn your parking lights on. This is the stainless steel wrap protectors. This protects the body, the soft aluminum body of the trailer, from debris that might kick up when you're driving. You hit a tire tread or something on the road, it's gonna hit this, which is more resilient, bounce back and protect the body behind because it's gapped here. It's not right up, flush up against the body. And because it's gapped, Airstream had to be mindful and put a hinge down the side that allows you to undo the 3 nuts and swing it out so you could clean and wax behind it as well. And these are replaceable if they ever got really banged up. These are rock guards that protect your glass. This is a curved safety glass window behind here that's in a fixed position. The middle window opens, but in order to open the middle window, we have to open the tethers here. And you lift it and you turn the knurl knob, and that will adjust your height. Now you could open the window to 3 different heights from the interior. And if you look closer, you can see there's 2 screws here. These are Phillips head screws that you turn a quarter turn, this pops out, and you can swing it open and lift it off and put it on the ground. You can clean your glass. Don't overextend it, because if you pull it all the way out, you will crease the body. So it's just meant to be swung and lifted off and put on the ground if you want to clean the glass. Make sure you go down your checklist of before you leave the campground to check items like your rock guard. Make sure that is locked in place. Your stabilizer jacks are up. Your windows are latched. That's all in your owner's manual. There's also an Airstream to go, this application that you could download on your phone. It gives you checklists for different scenarios that you could go through one by one while you're preparing to leave the campground. Propane tanks. Colonial Airstream will fill 2 30-pound propane tank bottles. They're about 7 gallons apiece. They house inside this bottle cover. Bottle cover is held down. There's a threaded rod and there's a nut here on the top that you spin around. Once you get it all the way to the top, you can remove it, lift the bottle cover off, and it gains you access to both your tanks. Now both tanks are plumbed together into a regulator in the middle, and this supplies propane to your trailer. You only need 1 tank out at a time. You're running for 1 tank, and then you could, when it's empty, you could switch over, and you turn this dial to this tank, and you run off of this tank, and you take that one out and get that one filled. But if you leave both tanks on, when 1 tank empties, it will automatically internally switch over to the next tank. And this gauge right here is showing red because both tanks are empty right now. Colonial is going to fill them for you before you pick up, but it's showing red. If this tank, which is pointed to, was full, it would be green. And when this tank emptied, it would turn to red. And if you had this one on, it would automatically internally switch to this one, but it would still show red point to the one it started from. So just be mindful of which tank you're on based on the arrow there. And make sure you get this bottle cover on nice and tight and correct before you tow, because you don't want loose propane tanks while you're driving down the highway. Okay. In front of the propane tanks, we have the electric hitch jack. This jack will allow you to extend, which is raise, retract, which is lower, to go on and off of your tow vehicle. There's a light out here that illuminates this area at night. And if you had battery failure, you can manually crank the trailer up and down by hand using this tool. This is the trailer breakaway cable. This pulls out in emergency only. I don't want, you don't need to be pulling it out on a regular basis. Never use it as a parking brake either. By me pulling this out, it activated the brakes. The magnets are on, they're on full blast, locking those trailer brakes. With that pulled out, you could burn out the magnets if you leave it out for a long period of time, and you could rapidly drain your batteries in the trailer. So this is just for emergency. This will get securely attached to the hitch receiver on your vehicle. If the trailer ever came disconnected from the truck, this would pull out and lock the brakes in the trailer. It's very important too to check the cable for fraying. If it's frayed, you want to replace it. You have 11,000 pound safety chains. You want to crisscross them and securely fasten them to the tow vehicle. And then this trailer, and most travel trailers, have a 7-way plug, which is a common connection in the back of a tow vehicle. It has the tow package. When you plug this in, the little door locks it in place, and then your vehicle is going to be required to have a 12-volt charge lead, highly recommended, so that your alternator charges the batteries while you're driving on the highway. And it's also recommended to have an electric brake controller. Actually, it's required. If the trailer has brakes, you have to make sure those brakes are working. Electric brake controller, you could either do a hardwired. If the manufacturer gave you an integrated one, you could use that, or you could do a wireless brake controller. But it's definitely needed. And it's also recommended to have some type of weight distribution kit with sway control. Distribute the weight evenly so it's not sagging the back of your vehicle or not nose high, and provide sway control just in case you get uneven pavement or a truck blows past you. It'll provide some sway control to correct you. The ball size is a 2 5/16 inch, and it's black hand-painted frame by Airstream. There's a steel frame. Coming around the back, actually we'll go on this side, you can come around that side. We have the battery compartment, and Colonial Airstream gives you a lock for it because we feel that the batteries are pretty expensive, because I equipped all my trailers from the factory with the solar charging system. Highly recommended option. It's we find it superior to like a dealer installed solar kit because it's recognized under Airstream's nationwide warranty. But when you do the solar charging system with the 90-watt panel on the roof, they upgrade the batteries from your standard deep cycle lead acid batteries to Lifeline absorbed glass mat batteries. These are Group 24 series, they're 80 amp hours apiece, they're 12 volt and they're in parallel. But this is where the batteries are, the clamp that holds it down, and you can see the parallel cables here and all the cables that go inside the trailer. You don't want to store anything else in this compartment. It's strictly for battery use. But you do want to periodically check your batteries and check the terminals on them. When you get the twin bed model, you get a lockable insulated front trunk compartment that's behind the propane tanks, which is quite large. And all the trunk compartments have an LED light inside and come with a rubber mat on the floor to protect the woven vinyl floor underneath. You can see it's all carpeted on the inside, so it gives you a little bit better of an insulation, but you can put a lot of items on here. So you're always going to get more storage when you get the twin bed model over the queen bed model. Down here on my side, I have a connection here for a low pressure barbecue grill. So you want to check the specs on your grill before you buy it, make sure it's compatible with low pressure. And this, once you take the boot off here, slide the collar back, lock it in place, this would be securely fastened to your grill, and then you turn the gas valve on and you could cook. The reason why the manufacturers are mindful in only giving you a short hose is they don't want you to come from here and bring it around and start cooking under your awning and light a fire. So it's purposely smaller. And they purposely give you a low pressure grill because it's safer for a consumer to hook and plumb to low pressure versus high pressure, which is right at the tanks themselves. On this side, this is the new Demco coupler. We give you a coupler lock here at Colonial, so no one can lift this up and put a ball underneath and steal the trailer. But this is a composite material, and it's better than the metal on metal that we used on previous models. This has the standard ZAMP quick disconnect port, so if you didn't have solar, or if you do have solar, it still comes with the ZAMP quick disconnect port. and that will allow you to hook up a portable external solar panel. When you hook up a portable external solar panel, that would have its own controller built into it. If you are equipped with the factory solar charging system, when you hook up a panel here, it will shut the factory system off so you can utilize your portable panel. So it's not both at the same time. The spare tire is underneath the A-frame. It's out of the UV rays. It's a lower center of gravity by having it this low. And spare tires aren't pretty, so why not just hide it under the trailer? You can take the little pin out here, slide the top one across, drop it down, and the spare tire is cradled in here. If you want to get better access to it, you just hit your electric hitch jack up, and it will give you better room to reach the tire. And again, I mentioned it earlier, you just want to check your tire pressure on your spare tire too when you're checking your tire pressure on your main tires. And then there's a metal aluminum VIN plate riveted to the battery box there as your permanent VIN plate. There's VIN numbers hidden in other series on this trailer as well. Coming around this side, duck underneath the Zipty power awning. We have an outside storage trunk. This would be on queen or twin. The queen would be a little bit deeper, but on the twin bed you still get that. It still is wide, and it's lockable, insulated, weather sealed, just like the other was. You have an outside GFCI protected electrical outlet. This will only work when you're plugged into electric on the campground. This is not an inverter circuit. And then in this compartment here is the controls to bring down your power stabilizer jacks. Now here's the tools that you could use if you wanted to manually put the jacks down. You're just working against the motor here. But to do it by power, you just push down. They're pretty quick. That's it. It's not going to level the trailer, you're not going to lift it up. This is just stabilizing, so when you're walking around inside, it's not bouncing around. That's all it's designed for. And you got another switch here for the two rear ones. And to bring them up, just push the button. And there's some lubrication points that you want to check periodically in your maintenance manual. And this is just another style tool you could use to manually override them as well. This is the water heater we spoke about earlier. It's a 6-gallon reservoir, but gives you 9 gallons continuous flow of hot water. It's got a drain plug here in the left corner. Gas valve comes in when you turn on the gas inside the button. This opens, mixed with combustible air, ignites, excess heat and exhaust comes out here, and you got a pressure relief valve. You want to wipe it out periodically. You don't have to hose it out, just wipe it out, and don't store things in here. I wouldn't hide a second set of keys in here because it could cause the key tag or keychain to ignite, so just be careful of that. This window here is the window on the curb side of the trailer at the twin bed. There's a porthole window below, but this one opens all the way out. And these two large windows open when you're sitting at the dinette. And you just have to be mindful, if you have this one open all the way, just be careful, don't smash the door into it. So it's something you have to think about. And then at the top of the awning, there is an LED light strip I could turn on, and I could dim it down if I'd like. And then I could control the awning. I could hit close. And there's a motor in here pulling the awning down. And there's a motor in the end of the roller wheel that's rolling it back up. But I could pause it just by hitting the button one more time. And I could also tilt the awning if I wanted to tilt one side down, if I had it out all the way. Put it back open. You hit tilt and you can tilt one side down or the other. But if you tilt the one by the door down, the door will rub on it. So it's always recommended if you're going to do a tilt, do it on the opposite side of the entry door. MSRP on this trailer we spoke about earlier is $93,900. The options are a convection microwave, we saw that earlier, and the solar charging system. Convection microwave is $475. And the solar charging system with 90-watt panels, $1,700. National distribution for destination charge for the dealers is $1,334. And the total MSRP on this trailer is $97,409. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. of the brand new 2020 Airstream Globetrotter 23FB here at Colonial Airstream. Now, it is available at our store. Our number here is 800-265-9019. You can visit us on the website at colonialairstream.com. You can see me on Facebook. I'm Colonial Patrick. Thanks for watching.